Hey guys, this is Ricky Rod, and before we get started with episode 5, I wanted to give you some information on small businesses in the United States and in North Carolina. Now, if you're listening abroad, the impact of small businesses on your economy is very important as well. But in the United States, we consider it the backbone. It is the backbone of what drives our economy, and it's really the idea behind the American dream. You know, when we hear about this, it's that idea that you can have an idea, whether it's starting a widget company or starting a computer company like Apple, and then it becomes the largest business ever in history. Okay, the idea that could happen is what drives our economy. It what drives people to our country. It what inspires people to become what we would call entrepreneurs. So how does that relate to North Carolina? How does that relate to this episode? Well, here's some interesting statistics for North Carolina. There are 821,000 small businesses in North Carolina. The number is probably more. The statistics date back to 2007. So basically, as a state, that's where we've seen our biggest growth, has been with small businesses and small businesses employing people. So please enjoy this episode. Keep this in mind as you get to learn about my favorite small business. All right, guys. Welcome to the Bomb House.
What's up?
What's happening?
Jimmy, how are you, sir?
I am feeling fresh to death,
Jimmy,
if I may use that.
we have an amazing guest.
Man, I've been
Today.
waiting all season for this one.
So, you know, some people get excited about rock stars, right?
Sure.
Authors, whatever, reality TV stars.
Yeah.
This dude, this is why I get
Some
excited.
people get excited about tacos.
Let me introduce you to Bryan Drake.
Bum, ba, da, bum, 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 bum,
He is the owner of Mountain Burrito in Morganton, North Carolina. Say hey, Bryan.
Hello, everyone.
And I can't tell you how happy this makes me
The
that you're here. This is the first time you've been in my studio, number one. And
that's cool.
Man, so true stories. Like I was just telling Tyson, we just went and got some coffee, and I was joking about some of her friends because she tells her friends that I go and eat at Mountain Burrito every day. And I don't think they believe her.
Every day.
Every day. I go every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And some of her friends that I see there, like when they see me, they go, "Wow, you do come here a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, I come here every day." That happens every time I see this same person. Like it's almost like she doesn't
Yeah.
she doesn't get the fact that I'm not joking.
Yeah.
So this is gonna, like, from now on, when people ask me that question, I can reference them to this podcast and be like, just listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to explain it. And I'm going to explain to you why I love your place. And I think how important it is to our town and really what we do. But Mountain Burrito is really just like Chipotle times 10, in my opinion. It is the best, freshest food I can have every day.
What's Chipotle?
I don't even know what that is anymore.
What is that?
I won't even. That's the last time I'm going to say that word.
Yeah.
Right now, the C word. Okay.
new C word.
Because it's just I can change. It's unlimited options.
Mm-hmm.
Is what your menu is. It's fast. It's fresh.
Definitely.
And the cost is good.
It's friendly.
And I love it. I love the vibe.
I'm trying to coin a term. It's the jewel of the West. Of North Carolina.
All I know is I can tell you this.
I dig it. I can get with it.
I can tell you this, Bryan, that I have friends that travel across the country and that come here to record.
Yeah.
And when they ask me about studio time, the second question is, "Hey, are we going to go to that burrito place?"
Yep.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
the second
awesome.
question I get asked. And it's become synonymous, right? That's the word.
Yeah.
I guess with what I do here.
With studio time.
Yeah, it literally has become. I bring all my clients there. I really don't give them an option.
No.
I warn them. I'm like, hey, we have great places to eat here, but this is where I'm going to go. And there's some reasons. It's fresh. I think everybody can get something that they like there.
Yeah.
And it's quick.
Yeah.
And we can get back to working in here, you know. But there's another reason you're on this podcast, because we have become good friends over the years.
Extremely good friends.
And I do appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate what your business does in our community. And I think part of this podcast, I didn't want to just concentrate on musicians,
right,
and artists or pastors. I think there's, like, if there's anything from each of these episodes, if there's some encouraging things and teaching moments maybe from people hearing stories of how they got started. And I'm really interested in how you decided to start Mountain Burrito, because let's talk about what year did you start the business?
We opened up our opening day December 21st, 2010.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, that is awesome.
Much to the chagrin of my accountant.
We can talk about that later. So December of 2010. How was the economy in our area at the time?
It was not good.
No, it was in the toilet.
It was not good.
Let's rewind back about 8 years.
Yeah.
Right. And we've mentioned this before in other episodes, but we were hit hard when the economy went down, and basically it took twice as long for things to recover here than it did in the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. Right. So was Mountain Burrito your first business you tried to start?
My wife and I, Shannon, opened up a Curves franchise, a fitness franchise.
I did not know that.
In Valdez. Right around 2003.
Yeah.
The idea, to...
yeah, I remember that.
To raise our children and, not, learn a little business sense. It seemed like a very good starter.
Like, was it an easy franchise? Was it an easy one to get into?
It was one of probably the easiest one to get into.
They were the hot thing, I remember.
Yeah.
Because there was one here downtown.
There's one in Lenore.
And what was the concept? Like, was it for women?
It was a women's only fitness place. It was a circuit system where everybody had different machines. Yeah. No free weights or anything like that. And it was just it could be a high impact as you wanted to, or as low as impact as you wanted to. Mm-hmm. And from all ages, from teenagers to people up in their years, just maintaining range of motion, maintaining.
Wow.
And
so how many years did you have that business?
We had it for. It's been so long, and that it's one of those things I haven't really forced out of my head. But we ran it for about 3 years.
Okay.
Ended up selling it to an awesome person, but unfortunately, it didn't last too long after that.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as what I learned, and
like, you got your feet wet.
Oh, I got
in running a business.
Yes.
Because as people are going to learn, like, being an entrepreneur is not an easy thing. Mm-mm. So what made you want to get out of it? Was it did you just decide, hey, the fitness business is not for us? Or?
I just, at that point in time, I never want to say anything is a novelty or anything like that, but it just seemed like that the current was getting ready to change, that there was going to be another something pop up.
I got you. That's interesting. So you had to be a little forward thinking.
And even in Morganton right now, we have tons of fitness places right now, not just...
Yeah, we do.
That's great. It blows me away.
At the time it was limited, I remember.
And it was just, I was just kind of glad to learn a little bit, but I'm also, glad to...
So what about the education background for you and your wife? Like, as far as, like, college, all that stuff.
I graduated 96 from App State with a degree in leisure studies, recreation management with a minor in communications.
Wow.
I grew up working in parks and recreation all my life.
Yeah. Really? That was... Well, that explains a lot, though. You like the outdoorsy stuff.
I swam all my life, and that was, that was...
Now, what about your wife?
Shannon's an occupational therapist by trade. She is the War Department of Mountain Burrito right now.
Guys, and just to let you know, like, running a business is not a solo thing. If you didn't have a supportive spouse, it's impossible. It's impossible. So I think it's just as important to find out about your wife. You know, but so she's had some background too.
Oh, definitely.
So both you guys got good education backgrounds. Went into there to try something different.
Right.
So, what got you going with Mountain Burrito?
At the time, it was I was employed at working at probably the most favorite job I've ever had in my entire life. Recession hit. It was involved.
Where was this at?
This was doing ironwork.
Yeah, you told me this. You still love doing that. Yeah.
And that's something that's near and dear. That will be what I end up doing.
Ironwork.
Making huge sculptures. That's what I want to do for
Right
if that's the last thing I do before I leave, and that is my legacy or whatnot.
Before I leave this earth.
I'm going to make a sculpture, and I want to make it, every sculpture, every piece of ironwork that you've seen at Mountain Burrito is,
you did
pretty much forged stuff, everything, by hand, and it's all kind of a mock-up for something that is a lot bigger. So you were working
in that business, and then the recession hit.
Recession hit, people quit building houses, people stopped building houses, and the type of work we were doing, it was, very, very, very high end. And, unfortunately, it was just one of those things that kind of happened and let go. And
you were sort of left like, okay, what's
next? What do I want to do?
As were a lot of people at that time.
Yeah.
Went to the staffing agencies, applied at a couple factories in town to, just to maybe see if I could still work with metal in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
If it involved going back to school, whatever need to be.
Yeah.
But it just, I'm a very impatient person, and it just kept taking, we'll call you back. Let's take this test. Let's do this. And I understand what you have to do or whatnot. And then I'd always flirted around with the idea of a restaurant.
Yeah.
Living in Colorado for a little bit after App State, being a ski bum, obviously burritos are pretty important out there. And,
that's interesting. So that sort of inspired you to think about a business that was needed in town.
And just as something that I've always had a side job in a restaurant. At App State, that's where I cut my teeth.
Yeah.
Working as a short order cook.
Yeah, I was about to ask, did you have background in the restaurant business?
Not a professional education, a street education, just learning everything, every cookbook, just honestly, just working with people and working with the team.
So you just worked side jobs in the
restaurant
jobs. Business.
Always worked for a couple of restaurants full time in town for a little while, and then, as a lot of people get in restaurants, you just get kind of burned out.
It's a tough gig. It
can be kind of hard because you're working when everybody else is kind of having fun and kind of doing their thing, and that's part of it, and I totally realize that. But at that point in time, I just said, it went from full time to working with iron, and then doing that kind of on the side, and then finally I said, I think I just need to step back and
then figure it out.
If I ever do this again, it will be my place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'll be my place.
So from the day that you had the idea, the inception, how long did it take to get, to December?
It took
10th, right?
A bit of a long story, whatnot. Pretty much everything in that restaurant was not built by a contractor, anybody that I paid to do.
You made.
Well, I say it's
your team.
My team. It's very hard for me to say the word "I" because I'm sitting here.
Friends.
I have a lot of friends. With a lot of really nice tools and a lot of really nice skills.
Because all the tables handmade.
All the tables handmade. Right? Pretty much everything.
You told me some amazing stories about the scrap. You got scrap from other restaurants.
Well, there was a restaurant very, very close by that was going out of business, and I'm not that much of a dumpster diver, but when somebody's going out of business, I kind of want to see what they're throwing away.
Sure, yeah.
And when you go into Mountain Burrito and you look and you see the galvanized tin that goes across, that was just kind of laying up against a dumpster, so I kind of assumed that maybe they didn't want it, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and I use the term liberate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's I think it's got a pretty good use right now.
So all those tabletops, all that stuff.
All the tabletops came from
metalwork.
It came from junkyards. All the wood came from the big scrap bin behind Lowe's.
That was insane.
And it just I'm not a trained carpenter. I work with metal a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But, it's...
You learned.
You give a man a fish, he'll eat once, but you teach a man to fish, and luckily have good friends that taught. I learned quite a bit. When I say I had this much knowledge going into it, building all that stuff, I had this much, but
for those of our listeners, he was showing us a very tiny amount,
about an inch, not enough just to get me in trouble.
Yeah, sure,
and not hurt me, but learned quite a bit, and it took quite a bit longer than I thought. But I think the proof's in the pudding that everything's still there.
Talk about
everything is.
It looks fantastic.
Talk about your attention to detail. I would assume that you wanted things right.
Just
knowing you personally now, I know how much that matters to you.
I mean, there's so many things inside that place, and I could tell you where every piece of wood came from. I could that would blow you away.
Well, it tells you, like, I get that feeling, that vibe when I walk in that place. Now, I got to tell you, like, the minute the sign went up, Bryan, I called my wife driving down that road. And I was just like, babe, there is a burrito place coming to Morganton. Like, I was already freaking out. And I literally drove through the parking lot so many times, just waiting for you guys to open.
That's probably how 98% of this area found out about Mountain Burrito was Ricky's excitement.
I agree.
I was freaking out. Like, I was like that kind of stuff was sorely needed here because we just didn't have a lot of options for lunch.
Well, ironically, that the sign, that was going to be one of the last things I hung up. But the way things in building businesses, restaurants, whatnot,
it's a lot of work to start a restaurant.
Things happen. You can't plan. But the sign was actually the first thing that I put up, and I covered the windows up.
Yeah, I remember.
Just put coming soon.
Yep.
And anytime, and
I remember that.
And inside of that place was pretty much sign on the outside, and I just kind of wanted to build the mystery of it up. What's going on in here?
I was thinking
fever pitch.
Great marketing.
I was thinking the only place that did burritos even close to here was a place in Hickory. And it became like a pizza place. It was so weird. It was like this bizarre, I can't remember the name of it, but it was off of 70. Bryan Drake wanted some Cuban coffee today. I just want to let everybody know. So we made him some legit Bustelo, and I think it's kicking his ass right now.
Yeah, I agree too. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, there is, I remember going to Hickory. And it turned into a pizza place, like overnight. Went from burritos to pizza place, and then like it broke my heart because I was like, man, So when I saw the sign go up, I was like, this is gonna be freaking awesome, and man, that's great. So let's get to anything. Like, was there any like obstacles starting like? Anything, I mean, I'm talking financial, I'm talking because it's a tough time. You picked...
financially, I mean, you go to a bank...
Was there some risks, is what I want to say.
There was a lot more, an extreme amount of risk doing it.
Yeah, banks don't want to give money to anybody at that time, and they still don't, really.
They will not.
Yeah, forget it. You'd have to put up everything.
When you see the folder close...
Yeah.
And then they want to talk about what kind of sauces. And
yes.
My favorite particular restaurant is this, and I can see the direction going over
here. Yeah, they try
to
tell you what to do.
So I just had to get creative, through family, friends.
See, that's awesome.
And, the one thing I had probably the most, a lot of was time.
Yeah.
So I just kind of thought about it a little bit, figured out what we needed to live off of, and I'm like, okay, I can do this in 8 months. We can build the tables, we can do this, we can get everything up until then. Like I said, the plan of how everything was going was, I figured I could have it up and running in probably about 3-4 months, but
took
a lot to
took a lot longer
to happen, and it just
that's the way it normally is.
Yeah.
By the way, it's never easy at first. So the thing that I find interesting, and I think I witnessed this because I've been literally, I think I was there the first week for sure,
definitely,
and never stopped going after that. But like your recipes, right? People don't realize how much work it takes to get the chicken right. the steak right, the pork. I'm a Cuban, right? I have Cuban-style pork all the time. I am very, very picky about that kind of food. And yours is the best. It's the best.
Man.
I remember one of the first conversations me and you ever had. I was like, "Oh, what are you putting on your chips?" Right?
Yeah.
And your pork. The food. I was so impressed with that.
Thanks, man.
But how long did that because I know it morphed over time. I know it wasn't.
Everything morphed so many.
Yeah, you just tried. You're a mad scientist, and we're going to talk about that later.
It's one of those things where I don't want to. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, I want to push the envelope.
Yes, you do.
But I want to push the envelope, but I don't want to turn anybody off. So
you can look at the sauces right now. You can walk into that restaurant and tell you're a mad scientist. Period. I don't care what you say. But really, how long? I don't want to, I want to know how long it took you to get it straight, because I know how you are.
Well, the chicken marinade that we use,
yeah,
our marinade that we use for the sauce, I changed probably every time I made it for a year and a half.
Yep.
And just a little bit more chili powder, a little bit less of this, a little bit more of this, enough to where I can, I would go into a zen-like state and taste that and be super objective about it. Yeah. It's not exactly what I like. I'm trying to think of every person that's going on. And this coffee is very strong. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now.
You want to put it down?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm holding it tight.
Hey, in Miami, you have basically they serve it in little 1 ounce cups.
Well,
that's why.
I like the 40 ounce right
here.
This is great.
Okay, so we're getting back to the recipe.
Yeah. And just... There's a lot of ideas that I had, and they've changed too much, but they haven't changed too much. But simplicity is great. Most of our recipes have, and this is not a secret squirrel or anything like that, because I believe in recipes, but I believe a lot more in technique. But there's maybe 3 or 4 things on our menu that have less than 5 ingredients.
Wow. Yeah,
and
that's
it's just how you put them together.
And it's nothing complicated. There's nothing, everything that we serve every day is made fresh that day. With the exception of a couple hot sauces and whatnot, which just tend to get a little bit better over time.
Yeah,
But even then, it's just we're pretty much doing the same thing and trying to keep that going.
It's genius. Listen, I will never stop promoting your business ever.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
But that's one thing about the style of business. It's always fresh, right? You got those guys. The kitchen is a groove there. I love watching it happen. It's cool to walk into a restaurant and see the kitchen so open.
Yeah.
Because you just see them doing the work, and you've got a wonderful crew. And one of my favorite things is your veggie section, your cold section, right? Jalapeno slaw. I have never seen that in a million years. It's one of the best things I've ever had, right? How did you come up with that kind of stuff? Was that just, again, trial and error?
There's a lot of trial and error, but there's a lot of things. When I think about it, there's a lot of homages that I make to other restaurants that I've been to, and
so you've been to
my
other
favorite
places and been inspired.
And I go and I get inspired, and there's no, you can go back and look at one of our kitchen cabinets and see all the different menus. Austin Bridges Barbecue in Shelby.
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding me? Our pork, that jalapeno slaw, is a direct homage to that.
Dude, see, I've never seen jalapeno slaw, and I get it every day.
Yeah.
The crunch and the power.
It's different, but it's just that's got. Oh, you got me going now.
Oh yeah, we can go.
It just. And then once it gets to a point, I've always thought it's not. I said this before, but it's not just what I like. It's what it would. I've tried to pay attention to what every person.
I think it's funny because when initially, it's a lot. It blows people's minds, right? When you walk in and you see the menu up there, and you're like, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
But that is the genius, because you can have something different every time, or you can have something simple.
my main with everything and I tell every person that comes in, all my new employees, one of my main things is I want to engage the customer. I want to talk. Like when you come into the restaurant, you're coming into my house.
Yep.
You're sitting at our table. You know, I want to engage you, and I want to make you not choose number 1, number 2, or number 3. I want to make you decide what you want. I'm forcing you to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know, how hot is that? Well, you know, that's kind of a subjective sort of thing, but I'll give you a little spoon. You try and you tell me what you think. Because my hot, your hot, hey,
everybody's different. That's so right.
a different thing. And I want to find out right then.
Yeah.
And
I've learned a lot about my palate just eating there. I think there's you know, Cuban food is not spicy and heat. You know, it's citrusy, Caribbean. And then what you're doing is totally different. Like, it's so out there, right? It's so freaking great.
There are so many great mixtures of things that I personally would never have put together in a million years.
Yep.
And then I'm just glad somebody else figured out to do it. You know?
Awesome.
So, and I was going to say, your restaurant style, for people who haven't been there yet but will be after this.
Oh yeah.
Is you walk in, you see the menu, and you talk directly over the counter to people. And we've seen this kind of template other places. The thing that stands out to me is that I'm not just like being yelled at and then, you know, hurried along. I'm getting a conversation with people.
Yeah, you develop,
you know?
Well, I've obviously developed relationships with your staff just by being there every day.
Yeah.
And they are awesome people.
Yeah.
You know, but you can see that. You can see that in your culture.
And the burrito can stand on its own.
Oh my God.
But adding that extra, just, you know, niceness, there's some kindness there. It's like, man, I love everything about this place, dude.
So I want to move the conversation to the sauces, right? Okay, go ahead.
Look, I just while we were talking about employees,
go ahead.
One thing that I think a lot of people do not know and do not realize, you know, is that there have been, out of every person that's worked at Mountain Burrito, I can count on one hand how many have had restaurant experience.
I believe that.
I believe that. You know, the guys that have been with me have been with me, you know, have guys that have been with me, you know, since the beginning. You know, the reason I'm sitting here right now with a strong cup of coffee doing this podcast with you talking about Mountain Burrito is because
you have a team.
I have a team back there that is, you know, they are rock solid.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
they're rock stars, man. You have rock stars.
And the fact that, you know, that there came from, you know, not a lot of, maybe a lot, I would say probably 3/4 of them, it's their first job.
Wow.
And, you know, what we do is not hard, and it's just, you know, it's engaging people, it's being nice, and it's
well, they're kicking tail out there, man.
Everybody moving along.
Yeah,
but I want to get.
Let's talk sauces,
like,
man.
If there's anything that explains like your personality, you look at the sauces list, right? I think if you start looking at the sauces list, because it is insane. Like, it is insane. Now, let's just start at the hottest, right? Like, I know, what's Elliot's last name?
Elliot Lytle.
Okay, Elliot, if you're listening, I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but I see him in there all the time. You make your hot sauces for him, right? Like the hottest one.
He is a
business, by the way, Elliot has a business. He's does design, right? Graphic design.
Yep.
And he's also very instrumental in helping bring in a local skate park.
Yes.
To this area.
Oh, wow.
Which is a huge deal for our young people.
Huge. That
is a culture that as a kid, I never skated, but I love the music so much, and that scene. So anyway, shout out to you, Elliot. But he loves his sauces hot.
Yes.
The dude loves his sauces hot, and what are the first couple you've made for him? Because when I see him bragging, I know it's going to make people sweat.
Well, there's not many that have, you know, that are particularly named for particular people.
Yes, but you have
El Peligroso is a tomato orange ghost pepper blend. And I just kind of looked one day and I was like, El Peligroso, you know, Rick, what does that stand for? That is the dangerous one.
Yes, the dangerous.
And then I'm like, El Peligroso.
So what's in that? Okay, so what's in that one again? You got ghost pepper.
I've got ghost peppers, which I have guys in town that grows it.
Yeah, I was about to ask. You get a lot of those locally, correct?
Yes. Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Oranges. Garlic. We go through. An incredible amount of garlic a week.
I can't imagine. So.
A little vinegar, a little white vinegar.
Oh my God!
A little salt and pepper.
See, and my daughter who
and a few prayers.
my daughter has developed such, like, she has become a sauce snob, straight up. She is like, she freaks out when you run out of sauce.
Yes, I'm very aware of this.
Like I have seen her get sad. I think what was the one she got sad about? I can't remember. It was recent. I can't remember the name, but my God, she was like, "We just ran out." Like it was horrible to her. But after that sauce, you have Sunshine, right?
You have Sunshine,
which is a sweet.
And it's
powerful.
It's just a real smooth blend of pretty much kind of everything orange you can get.
Oh yeah, man. And it's a citrusy, sweet, tasty sauce. It's for the heat. I usually don't even go that hot, but when I do go with the Sunshine, it actually tastes the taste makes it worth it for the heat. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. It's about. I don't want to hurt anybody, and like I said, that heat is a real subjective sort of thing.
It is, absolutely.
So it's a lot of times you can squirt a little bit on a burrito or whatever your entree is, and it'll kind of mellow out everything. But I love seeing people getting cups on the side and trying a little bit with your finger or chip or whatnot, or just actually pouring a little bit on each particular bite of a burrito on top. So that's the first.
See, my two personal favorites, like Hall of Fame sauces, are your Hella Yella, which is crazy. Like that is basically honey mustard on 10.
On
heat.
10, that's it.
It will blast you, but it tastes so good.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
Yeah.
The craziest flavor. Like the first time I had it, I just started shaking my head going, "You're a genius." Like I would have never thought of that. And whenever I have, friends and guests over and they're wanting to try something different and spicy, that's the one I point to. I'm like, "Listen, that's the most unique thing I think I've ever had, like sauce-wise, ever to this day." But my other favorite is your Mojo.
Mojo, that's
like
it.
I think that's legendary.
It is a legendary sauce, right?
It has become. It's on pretty much what I get. I would say nowadays is 60-70% of what I get. Oh. And that is that more like a Thai-based sauce?
That is more like
Thai
chili, garlic, sriracha-ish a little bit.
Yeah.
But we take it and kind of extend it and stretch it and kind of push the envelope a little bit. So it's a medium heat.
In my opinion, it is a medium style heat. And it would be like if you're questioning and you just want to stay in the medium realm, that's where I would start.
Totally.
In my opinion.
Dudes, I'm really getting hungry.
Oh, we're gonna go rock some right after this. but and then from there on, you've got you run wouldn't you say the Chipotle sauce is really...
Chipotle sauce is popular.
Yeah.
We try to keep everything super seasonal. We do a blueberry Chipotle.
Yes, you do.
But
I was about to ask, you do seasonal?
But it's got to be seasonal
I've seen blueberry. I think I've seen strawberry. I've seen everything. You have tried.
The blueberries come from just,
banana? You did a banana one a couple of summers ago. I remember that one.
Green banana, serrano pepper.
Yes. I remember that one.
Crazy one.
Crazy.
And I have a list. There's probably 40 or 50 that I kind of.
So do you have just a network of dudes that hook you up with the peppers? Is that what you try to do?
It's taken a couple years
build a portfolio
to get up. It started off with a couple guys that worked for me doing it on the. Well, actually, it first started out as just meeting a guy at the barber shop that asked me if I had ever heard of a ghost pepper, and I said, I heard of them. He asked me if I wanted some, and I'm like, well, sure. Well, he showed up at my restaurant about an hour later with 6-gallon-sized bags of the biggest ghost peppers I've had in my life. And the first thing I did was take one, took a bite out of it like an apple, and immediately just...
And
yeah,
you were like instantly regret
the
this
emoji
decision.
where your head is blowing off. That was it right there.
Yeah.
And then it just it's a very fruitful plant. You get a lot of coffee, and it's, well, what am I going to do with all these? I can't do anything with it. And then
you started going to work.
And then I've linked up with some of the guys over in Western Piedmont and their sustainable ag department.
That's our community college. Yep.
You know, through
so
them,
they're farming some stuff out there, growing some stuff.
Had some
it's
guys.
Fresh, man. Your jalapenos are, I mean, they're just perfect.
Right now, I've linked up with Snyder Family Farms.
Yeah.
In order to, you know, my goal at the end of this summer, or at the end of the growing season, you know, with the way the weather is, who knows what not, to be able to bottle up sunshine sauce, to bottle up the Girl on Fire sauce, so I can have it.
Are you serious? So we're talking about some future.
Yeah, we're talking
products.
Yeah, this
you
is
heard it here first.
You heard it here first. This is it's been a long-term goal of mine.
And I don't want to give anything away, and don't feel like you need to. But I know there's probably going to be some more things happening this year.
Oh,
is that safe to say?
Oh, this is going to be the year right here.
Yeah, I know you've got some plans. So keep an eye out, folks. Yep. I think there's going to be some neat things happening.
Yeah.
You know, I'm privy to some of that, but I'm not going to give that away.
Y'all better get yourself down here to Mountain Burrito. That's what we're saying.
I know.
Come on down.
So, you know, you've been in business since 2010.
Yes.
How long did it take you into that business that you were like, okay, I think we may not die doing this business? Because I know you hit some challenges. I'm about to bring those up. Nope. But at what point did you decide, you and your wife were like, okay, I think we're gonna be at least safe?
It would.
I know that's a hard question.
It is a hard question. I got to put it. I'll say 2 years.
Yeah,
I'll say definitely 2 years. You know, there's always I want to say the novelty part of it. Everybody wants to try out the new restaurant in town, and keeping it going and keep it going.
In this area, let's just throw it out there. If you don't have something that's affordable on the menu, you're in trouble. Like, you got to have at least one item.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have, like, you know, Obi over there at Wisteria has the burger.
Right.
Like $10 or $11, whatever it is now. You know, you can go in there for $10 or $11 and get probably one of the best burgers in the state.
No
and
doubt.
He's got everything else on the menu.
No doubt.
Right. And if you don't have that, people here in this area don't eat. They're not going to go out. Right.
Right.
Safe to say. So 2 years, huh?
It was a solid 2. It was a solid 2 years. 2 years before I actually felt comfortable enough to shelve off some responsibilities.
Yeah, I was about to say, because you're very hands on.
Very
to this day.
Yes.
You are not an absentee owner at all, and I will point to an example, because at one point you expanded.
Yes.
To Lenoir,
yes.
which is a neighbor city.
Yes.
Yep.
To
drive the road.
Yep.
Right. And I know from talking to you that ended up being a very rough experience on you personally.
It was.
I know you lost some weight.
I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, and I know it was tough. And if there's anything I'm asked about that place is people still miss it.
I know I do.
Yeah, people still miss it in Lenoir.
A week after we closed, that was probably one of that. That's one of the hardest things I've ever had.
I don't want to bring you down, bro.
Oh no, it's cool. You know, I learned a ton.
That's what we're going to bring this back up here in a minute. But you learned there was some challenges there.
You know, right? I applied the same sort of formula here.
Yeah.
In Morganton, in Lenoir. Kind of where the restaurant was, where the green rays were.
I went out there, and I went out there a few times. I sure did.
And it just, for one way, shape, or form, just didn't take off. Just, I think if we stuck it out probably a little bit more, but at that time it was, we'll try it for a year. Then
Brian, I think
at a year
I don't think you would have been here if you would have kept it longer. in my opinion. I think it was getting you.
It was
tough.
It was a lot. It was just, and it was a time when I was kind of wishing that the world would spin just a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So I could have at least like a 36-hour day, so where I could spend 8 hours here, 8 hours here,
and a lot of
8 hours family.
Because a lot of that is you're so hands on, right? I mean,
Extremely.
you just are.
Well, it's just the nature of this business and the nature of a Mountain Burrito is everything is very hands on. There's nothing that we take and. There's some canned stuff that we use or whatnot, but there's no salsa, no anything. Anything we open up is an ingredient for something else, and that is made that day.
Yeah. So
you can tell for sure.
So Lenore, you tried for a year. It about killed you. I witnessed it. Like you were the skinniest I think I've ever seen you, and it wasn't healthy. I remember that.
No, it was a rough time, and
I remember that.
But it's very. I don't regret one bit of it.
But what did you learn from that experience though? Like today, like if anything, there's from it, because a lot of people don't realize being in small business means risk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, risk is a huge part of what you do in any business. And I can tell you from personal experience, I went from a really high paying job, and then moved into the entrepreneur thing. A lot of years ago, and that was the scariest thing to me, because nothing's guaranteed after that point. So there's just risk.
Yeah,
like there's risk to doing it, but that's what makes this country work.
Right.
I know that's a stereotypical thing to say. We
but
see it all
true.
the time.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, like, you took a risk in Lenore. You tried it out.
Right.
Didn't happen. Right. And you just had to figure out what the next step was for y'all.
The next step after that, at that time we were open 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And I had some really great people that were working for me that I was not going to lose. So I'm like, okay, let's just reallocate some resources a little bit and figure out this is stop for a couple of days.
Yeah.
We'll clean the shop up and we'll figure out a plan. And from then on, we opened up 7 days a week. We extended our hours.
Yeah, you tried different things.
Breakfast.
I think you did a breakfast for a while.
We did breakfast for a while, and still
Bernie Bacon, baby.
Bernie Bacon is still.
Oh my God,
guys! Don't forget about it. But it's.
I won't forget about it.
If there's
I dream about that thing, man.
I can be a very overly ambitious person sometimes.
I discovered eggs and chorizo. When you started adding chorizo, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
And that's a very, I want to say, if my grandmother ever heard me say it in an Appalachian kind of inspired chorizo, her head would spin around a couple times, like, what exactly are you talking about?
But it was fantastic.
And it's just, there's it's like everything in there. There's a little bit of me. There's a little bit of guys that I've worked with growing up.
Yeah.
There's, a little bit of my grandmother's. There's a little bit of my wife in there. There's a little bit of my mom's recipes in there. Dude. So it's when I look at things, it always humbles me.
So
always brings back tons of memories.
I have a few questions. These are just funny questions.
Lay it on me, man.
Because you're around it 24/7, but what's your, if you were to fix yourself something right now, what would you fix? What's the thing you love right now at Mountain Burrito?
Right now, oh man, I love. This is what we call the Morganton.
Okay.
This is
Morgan.
This was from my son Morgan.
Yeah.
And it's just a small burrito, and he's kind of graduated to the big burrito, but it's
he's grown up.
It's rice, chicken, corn salsa, chipotle sauce, cheese.
Oh yeah, I did that for Gabe for years.
And it got to where he ate it so much that became my sort of favorite. But
dude, yeah, that's dope.
Every morning I usually come in my sort of I'm a bit of an early riser.
Yep.
And it sounds weird, but I love cold rice and beans with a little bit of garlic vinegar and a little bit of the hottest sauce that we have on there.
That is awesome.
Because it wakes me up, clears me out.
Yeah.
And it's, it gives,
and you get rolling.
And it gets me going. It gets me going. Rice and beans, hey, save the world.
That's awesome. So, okay.
That's right, man.
Now I'm going to ask you the opposite.
Yes.
Like if there's anything there that you're like, I can't stand. Like, is there anything like you're like, is there a sauce or is there something that you're like, okay, You strike me as a dude that pretty much digs everything, but
Rick, I'll be honest with you, I'm the most unpicky person in the world. And
awesome.
There's not a thing that I can look at and I can find a reason. I can. There's things I like maybe just a little bit less than others. Some of the really crazy hot sauces I love, but I know I only have, it's...
Like, how hot will you go?
I'll go...
You'll go all the way?
I'll go balls out and go, Atomic Dog. The hottest sauce that we have is, pretty much, about 15 pounds of Carolina Reaper peppers and garlic and vinegar and salt.
Oh, my Lord.
A little bit of lime juice and forget about it. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients.
So you go. You go.
Yes, and that, right there, that's... the mothership will descend after that because your endorphins start rolling.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So, let's get to your family stuff. Like, how's the home work balance thing? Because I know for me, I juggle that hard. I really do. It's a consistent battle for me. I work out of my home. The problem is, and there is a generation of us that we're working 24/7 because of our smart devices, right? Our iPads, phones, and computers. We're just connected 24/7. Like, how do you balance that? Is there anything that you do that just sort of... I think I know how you're going to answer this with the metal work, but I know there's other things you get into too. But how do you work that stuff out with your family?
It's... That process is I'm still learning, and I'm still
me too.
I think that's one of those things that you're always learning. You're always trying to figure out the balance of it.
Yeah.
I look at other people, friends of mine that are, I'm a restaurateur. Yes, it's an important job. I'm making food. We're putting in people's bodies. But, I look at, a good friend of mine who's a pediatrician, and, his job responsibility. And then, just things, that you're doing on the side. And I have a very, my sleep patterns are probably the worst in the world.
I know, we've talked about
this.
And
it's, I just try to, my question is, how do you do this and can still sleep at night?
Yeah.
And just, and have peace of mind where you can actually fall asleep and not sit there and go, looking at the ceiling and feeling like the walls are kind of coming in.
I have a bad habit of responding to people in the middle of the night on my phone. I have a bad habit of doing that stuff. And I remember a few years ago telling my wife, I'm like, okay, this year I'm going to try to take Monday off, right? Just randomly. And honestly, that year I think I only took like 3 Mondays. But mentally, right, in my mind, Monday became like, okay, I'm not going to stress about getting this done or getting this mix done. Or
it was like step one to full fruition of that. And
I had to come to grips with, it's okay to be crazy busy, and it's okay to like take a break. Mm-hmm. And I have found, I think, with my family that even if we take a couple of days to Charleston, I get to play guitar on weekends, and I have found that to be one of the most therapeutic things for me. Yeah. Because I'm exercising a different muscle, right? Like when you're in the studio here, I'm looking at these computer screens, and I am focusing on minute details, right? And I could tell that metal work is that thing for you, right? I mean, you work on your car. I've seen you. You went through the bike phase. I remember the bike.
Well, that I don't think that bike phase ever. I don't think it ever stops.
It doesn't, though. It doesn't, and that's the point, right?
It's balance is key. It's always going on. It's man. It's hard. It's I'm struggling to find words to do it. I know to explain it because I still am kind of going through it a little bit.
Well, you know what though, I sometimes maybe about once a week, me and you sit down. I'll get there early enough while you're doing some work stuff on your iPad, and we'll have lunch together. Yep. Like, to me,
love that. That
recharges me. I'm good.
Yeah.
We just shoot the crap for a few minutes, have some fun, crack some jokes.
And honestly, that as the restaurant's gone on, I feel I love being hands on.
Yep.
But as far as it's more of like a steward or a caretaker, you know. And as much as I hate to say that, you know, I'm not that much of a PR guy, but I love going out and talk with the customers, and I love them seeing me.
You know,
talking to seeing what's going on. And
you don't promote at all, right? Right now, have you promoted ever? Or it's been very little.
Advertising has been, I want to say, about 98% word of mouth.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I know you've had opportunities, because we've talked about what are the apps, the Yelps, and what are they?
A TripAdvisor, Yelps.
Those are not, I'm going to tell you now, I've heard not so good stories about those apps and dealing with small restaurants. It's just, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I've not heard great things. There's some tough stuff that goes on with small businesses. I see it happen in town all the time. But you have grown that business organically. Mm-hmm. There has been no, I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just been word of mouth. I have friends of mine that come from Hickory all the time through there. My favorite thing is in the spring when people are on the way up to Asheville or Boone, and they stick out like a sore thumb.
Totally.
You know, our out-of-towners. No offense. But I know, and 9 out of 10 times I know they're from out of town, and I make a point, you know, if they need help looking for something on the menu, I always suggest like a handful of things, because I think if they're only going to come through here once, I think they should try to get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, let it knock their socks off, man.
Because the chips are legendary.
Yes.
They, oh my God. They're the reason I've gained any weight in the last years. It's been from those chips. The queso's unbelievable, and it's so unique. The nachos are so unique, and then let's not even get into the Fish Taco Tuesday. Let's not even get into the like every day you guys do a different burrito, right? Burrito thing.
There's a different kind of brownie all the time.
I mean, there is one in particular I really like.
Yeah, why not?
I forgot the name. What was that? What's that brownie called?
You talking about the Mayan Death Punch?
No.
I like that one. I like that one.
I'm sorry.
Oh, of course.
The cherry bomb house brownie.
The cherry bomb house.
That's it, man.
I have tried all your brownies. I have literally tried them all. That was another reason I've gained a lot of weight, because those things are like the freshest things ever.
They're the best brownies.
People are always, you know, hey, what about a dip? Why is it always brownies? Why is this and that? And I'm like, there's so much you can do. There's so much we haven't done with brownies just yet.
Yeah,
like, are you kidding me?
It's unbelievable. The attitude you guys have about salsas or just salsa or sauce. I can't even pronounce the words. That has totally moved on into your brownies.
Oh yeah,
the brownies are just nuts.
The brownies are just nuts. Some of them have nuts in
some of them, but I'm talking crazy flavors.
Yeah, they are, man.
You do the spicy one though,
right?
Is
that the Mayan Death Punch?
That's the Mayan
Death Punch.
I love that one, dude.
That is my favorite one.
Yeah, it's like Mexican hot chocolate, kind of in a solid form, you know?
Little dry chipotle powder.
And you guys change it all the time. It's just always rotating.
Yeah.
So that's another brilliant thing that, I mean, I can go on, but, you know, we really should talk about what the best things are on the menu, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
But if a new person's visiting, the things I suggest are the nachos, because the sheer amount of food you get on a nacho is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It could feed 2 to 3 people.
Yes.
And it's a great way to try a little bit of everything.
Yep.
You know, the queso's great, and the toppings, and it's awesome. Everybody's going to go eat after this podcast. It's going to be great. So, before we get to, we have a question and answer session for you.
Yes, sir.
And I think Jimmy has a surprise for you too.
Oh, man.
But, like, you know, we're going to start wrapping things up, but like success, right? Like, I'm never comfortable ever. I think personally, I will never stop trying to get better. I like mixing, producing, playing guitar, tracking drums, whatever. What about you? Like, is there anything, like, how do you measure your success? You know, do you ever feel comfortable in it, or are you always just pushing yourself, and is there a point that you plan to meet, you know, like a goal?
With me, that point that point will end when I'm not on this earth anymore.
Yeah.
I will keep pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of retiring for me, I might slow down a little bit or something like that. But that's a hard. That's
wait,
a hard.
Your dad's a principal, right? Still a principal, right? Or is he retired?
He's retired principal now.
He's a retired principal.
Retired principal.
Right? So that's interesting.
Also, my best friend.
That's cool. I know that.
Yeah, man.
I love that about you. I think. Well, I'll tell you now. I think it's a borderline miracle you launched a restaurant at the when the economy was so bad, and it is what it is today.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes for you, your family, you know, and I honestly don't know where I would be if I didn't have that place. It's like that old show Cheers for me.
Absolutely.
And,
Rick,
Jimmy.
Man.
It sort of is like that, but I love it. Like it's just a good place, man, and it's the vibe of it, everything. It totally you've hit something there.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep on going, keep on pushing the envelope.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know some of the stuff that's coming up this year, and I'm pumped.
There's
huge fan.
A lot of exciting things going to happen. A lot of exciting things.
And man, this could be dope. This could be pretty cool. All right, Jimbo.
Well, before I launch into the bombs away, I just want to point out that this restaurant has been integral in like even my band's life.
Yes.
You know, because working with Ricky meant eating at Mountain Burrito, but also like I think some of our most inspiring moments as a group happened over one of those tables, eating something off that menu.
Yeah.
And then we'd come back recharged, probably from a frustrating morning.
Yeah.
You know, there are times when you get into the studio and it's just like, man, I'm not nailing anything. And then you get some of that good food in you and you come back and you've been talking with people who are kind to you, and then all of a sudden magic happens in here. So I'm not going to say that burritos definitely make the next hit record, but
they're inspiring.
Well,
I'm not going to say they don't.
The whole idea, I mean, you hit one point that I've always pushed. You know, people always, a lot of restaurant trends say, hey, people are getting away from the big tables. No, everybody needs privacy, this, that, and the other. I want big tables.
Yeah.
Dude, I sit with people all the time.
Yeah.
I sit with I've met some pretty awesome people through that restaurant.
And you kind of have a communal table right there in the middle with some high chairs.
I do it all the time.
And just when I can look and see, where people, their job, what they do, what they're doing, the conversation that they're having.
Yeah.
I love being involved in that. And that novelty, I always talk about novelty or whatnot, but that I love that. That makes my heart flip flop a little bit.
Yeah.
It absolutely totally does.
Absolutely.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
But that explains a lot.
It's
the community aspect.
And to
of
me, it's forcing people to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you see that in other countries.
And it's becoming a heartbeat to this area too. Not even. I mean, I know it's definitely helped Morganton, but I'm not a Morganton native. I live in Granite Falls, but I know people here, so I'm constantly hanging out here, and that's like one of the first things I think of when I think of Morganton.
Dude,
I know the downtown area, and I know Mountain Burrito.
Yeah.
So. Really rad. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say probably my favorite thing. I was going to ask you too.
Yep.
My favorite thing is the hard taco shells that you make out of the same stuff the chips are made of. Good God Almighty, they're so good. Yeah. And that is what a taco was always meant to be, I think.
Oh yeah.
Rick, what's your favorite thing there?
Oh my God. That is crazy.
Well, we're getting deep, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell
What's your favorite thing there on a Monday?
I'll tell you my first experience there, and then how I got to where I am now. Okay, the first time I went in there, I just got the regular burrito, right? And it was so much food. I could not eat dinner that night. I was like, this was the best thing I've ever had. I cannot eat something that big again. And then I immediately started messing with things and just sort of, I came up with something that is now my favorite. Now, if I have a burrito, this is my favorite burrito. White rice, pintos, and either chicken or pork, right? But inside of that burrito, this is what happens. Gotta have pineapple.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have a crunch. So it's either cabbage or jalapeno slaw.
Oh,
gotta have a crunch.
Rules, a little texture in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta have cheese, the cold cheese, not the queso cheese, and fresh jalapenos.
That's your key.
Because of the crunch. I gotta have that crunch.
Yeah.
But with the pineapple and then the sauce, I can go with chipotle or I can add mojo because the chipotle tends to, and the rice, it dumbs down the heat a little bit. But sometimes I'll go sunshine on a burrito. God, I want to have one so bad right now.
I can taste it.
Like I'm freaking out.
We're getting there.
Yeah. And that I would sell my soul for.
Oh, wow.
That's my burrito.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Let's go to taco. This is going to take me 10 minutes. Now, my taco, I like fresh and simple, right? Like peppers and onions, maybe a chicken, or I always go back to the chicken or pork, but I like the citrusy and I like a little bit of crunch. So I'll go back to the pineapple, throw a little chipotle and a little bit of jalapeno slaw. That's it. Like and some cheese. That's it. Maybe some lettuce. I keep it simple but fresh.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But right now I'm eating low carb. So basically I just have a naked burrito, and that's the reason I go there every day, because I can eat healthy.
Yeah.
And eat fresh.
Yeah, man.
And it is basically that's just my favorite thing. But yeah, those the nachos, I don't get a lot of the nachos because they're so good that I can't stop eating them.
Oh, dude. And
I can't, they're like drugs to me. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. The chips are like drugs to me.
Yeah, man.
So I can't, it's like, I can't. I would weigh 400 pounds if I ate those every day. I'm not kidding, man. I'm that passionate about, those chips. But so the nachos, I have to be a little bit more careful, but, I mean, dude, that pretty much what I said is those are my favorite flavors. And my sauces, I change them up. In the summer, I tend to go a little hotter in the summer. I don't know why. I'll tend to add sunshine in the summer.
You're a glutton for punishment.
No, it's not. It's good, man. Hey, true story though. I was on a short tour recently.
Right.
So I couldn't be there for a couple of days straight. First meal back, I get what I normally get, and it lit my mouth on fire. Same thing I get every day, right? I mean, it was on fire, and I was like, it was like my taste buds reset while I was on the road.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I come back and I was like, whoa! I was sweating. And I was like, God, this is so good. And then it's gone now because I've been home all week. And now
endorphins running rampant, running wild.
Now I'm like, now I went in today and I was like, man, this is all good. But so even just being gone like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I guess I went through withdrawals maybe. I don't know.
It happens.
But seriously though, I got the same thing, same level of heat.
Yeah.
Kick my butt.
You guys talking about just flavors and combinations. I'll tell you this for one sec. Thursday is one of our huge delivery days, and it's a lot of times it's our stores are kind of wiped out a little bit. So I'm always, what are we going to do for a special on Thursday? And I'm a big Rodney Dangerfield man, and I always hear, I think of him going, "Hey, trust me." So I had the idea. I'm like, well, how about we just do a trust me taco? We'll do it Trust Me Thursday. And we've been doing it for a couple of years. It's one of our most
really.
It's one of our most. It's probably, if not the most popular one, because people love to come in, and as much as people are creatures of they're creatures of habit.
Yep.
To not pick anything, and we just say what kind of meat and how hot would you like it,
and that's it,
and that's it right
go
there.
To work.
And there's no
wow. Yeah, that's
we
fun.
want this except that. And it's like, no, you have to trust me.
That's
the only rule is you have to trust me.
That's a great idea, man.
You tell me what kind of meat and how hot you want it, but just let us go with it. We're not going to hurt you. It's not 15 hot sauces on there or anything like that. But it's just and that was something just
I don't know. My daughter, every once in a while, she brings stuff home for me. Like I'll have her. That's the advantage of having my daughter work there. I use it. I use the advantage because I'm like, I'll text her. I'll be like, hey, babe, bring me home something. And she always lights me up. She always throws something a little, she'll throw in a little something in there for me to
Tori's
get me.
being a little sadistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? It works. Like her palate, she's got a good palate.
Yeah.
And she knows what works. And I love watching her help people that have never been through the restaurant before.
Yeah.
She's really good about that stuff. Like
It's
it's very impressive, because I'm a dad. I'm like super maybe I'm overly, like overly picky about things, or maybe I'm like, hey, make sure, but watching her do that, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Oh, Tori solid. She's the key part of the team.
And then Sam, right? Sam's is he mostly there daytime?
Sam, he alternates. Daytime, nighttime.
He's a rock star.
He's a total rock star.
He total rock star.
Between Sam, Tyler, they've been with me, since the beginning, since day one.
Both of them.
And I see the progression of them just becoming. I'll put their cooking skills up against anybody.
Well, man, you like to vacate, right? You'll go to Charleston.
Oh yes,
right. And when you're gone, there's no drop off. There's nothing. Those guys kill it.
Let them do their thing. With like technology being connected and whatnot, I can always kind of. I can.
You keep an eye.
I keep an eye on things and whatnot, but it's not really. It's not as much keep an eye. I just kind of want to. Where are we at lunch today? It's after lunch. What's going on? There's.
Yeah.
If it was a idea of something I had to worry about or something like that, shoot, I wouldn't go on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Mountain Burrito it's kind of like a farm. It's 7 days a week. You have to check and make sure that the cows have not kicked down the fence. This and that, this and that.
Yeah.
Every paycheck's a fortune. Every meal's a banquet. It's just
boy.
that's
Listen, that'll preach, brother. That's good, man. I would like to point out too that if we can get this passionate talking about what we like to eat from a restaurant,
yes,
that's brass tacks. What we're talking,
yes.
Just imagine the amount of passion that you put into it as your project, as your livelihood, as your creative outlet, because we're seeing all these things happen in the walls of a restaurant.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we kind of put that as humans, we put that into like nice little cubby holes, like music is very creative or art is creative, writing is creative. But this is just as creative, if not more, because there's a lot more hinging on it a lot of times.
Well, I think a lot of that's just Bryan's vision.
Yeah, absolutely. You said you were like so ambitious that you can't even think about retirement. I think it takes that to do anything of this magnitude.
Now that I think about it, like chain restaurants, feel very like almost starchy. As usually,
sure.
They just feel very perfect.
Yep.
Everything is like industrialized, and it's almost like every step has been planned.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't get that vibe there.
Yeah. It's an organic kind of thing, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want you to come in, and the first thing, you come into the restaurant, you're going to eat not just with the last thing you're going to eat with when you come in there is your mouth. First thing you come in, and you're going to eat with your eyes, you're going to eat with your ears, and you're going to look at all those, and that's
the music there. I love the music,
There's a couple channels on Sirius that we don't play or whatnot, before we open.
Yeah,
but for the most part, we try to keep it.
A few times when the music's loud, I love it.
Yeah.
I had a guy come in on Cinco de Mayo and looked around and said, "This is the craziest thing in the world." He said, "There's about 15 different cultures going on right now." He said, Cinco de Mayo, there's reggae music blasting.
Yeah.
It's the biggest burrito I've ever had in my life. And it just he said I'm just kind of
it's over.
He said this is kind of surreal right here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, I don't care what you call it, chicken salad for all I care, brother. Just go with it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned music.
Yes.
What are you listening to right now? What are you digging?
Ooh.
Because I know you're a music fan. I see you go to shows all the time.
Right. Currently, right now, I am on the way. I've been in an Iron Maiden kick.
Oh,
really hard. And I saw them live last summer. Bucket list sort of show, and there's still a Mountain Burrito shirt that is floating around the pit somewhere.
Really?
Yes, I actually left my shirt there.
So you got into that pit.
Yes, got a little bruised up there for a minute.
You're telling me you got in the Iron Maiden pit?
It was, well, I didn't get.
I want to know this.
I was making mad efforts to get down there, but I kept, I still have claw marks on my back from people pulling me back. And then I remember walking back. I mean, and the next day going, oh my gosh, how sore am I? But I'm just listening.
I love this.
A friend of mine just burned me the live, Book of Souls tour from last year, and every song is in a different country, in a different place across the world. And between that, there's a prog band called Thank You Scientist that the kid that works for me, Jacob Clapp, turned me on to.
Yeah.
Yes, it's kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Between that, it's. I love Eco Mouse. I love heavy dub reggae.
Wow.
Usually in the mornings, so right when I get there.
Super diverse taste.
First thing in the morning, I've always been kind of somewhat of my musical. It goes across the board. I'm a widespread Panic fan. Yeah. To the point you could say a spread head, but more of a spread neck.
Yeah. That's
but
funny.
A bunch.
Boom.
So I love the Panic, the Dead, Fish a little bit.
Yeah.
But whatever's new, whatever's exciting, it's right now, my daughter plays a couple instruments, and
cool.
I love explaining that Jethro Tull's this is not a guy in a band.
Oh yeah,
and she's like, that's how short he is.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Tons of stuff.
But in the morning when I get there, I love to turn on progressive jazz because it's. I can get into it. But I don't know that much about it, or I have to stop and go. Oh, I remember when, because if it was on Jam On, I'm like, I remember when Warren Haynes played with Marcus King here at the Christmas Jam.
That doesn't distract you.
No, I just need something to go, just to go to go to a little bit.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
And it gets me going. And then when the guys get in, I let them kind of turn,
yeah,
what
they do. They definitely
want to.
Do change it up.
Yeah.
And it might be liquid metal, it might be old backspin, it might be.
I think my daughter learned about '90s rap at your restaurant. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Hey, it was a great time in rap music.
It was.
Yes.
I could argue it's my favorite.
Yes.
And the best.
So this leads me to Bombs Away.
Boom.
Bombs Away.
3 questions we ask each guest.
Production.
The last one being. What's your favorite taco and where is it from? Well, we're gonna tweak that for you, seeing as how you make everybody else's favorite tacos. So the first question I have is along the musical lines. If there's a band out there, and I know this maybe seems a little negative, but if there's a band out there you could blow off the face of the earth and just never have to hear from again, if there is one, what
does that band
would
exist?
that band be?
Or artist?
Ooh. Wow, that's a deep one right there. Like I said, I'm a very unpicky person. There for a while, they might be Giants. I had a hard time with them. Then I realized that when I was watching when my kids were a lot younger, I realized that they were doing a lot of the music to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and this, that, and the other. Wow. And that kind of flipped the script on me a little bit. And I'm like, well, I can't hate them that much. Now. You know what I mean?
That was my initial reaction to John Mayer. I didn't like John Mayer at first because I thought he sounded like Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
And he was just doing this acoustic thing, right? And then he comes out.
He had a scheme.
And then he did this trio thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, what?
People were like, what?
And this stuff was releasing online, the live stuff he was doing. And that hooked me line and sinker, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
I am a diehard fanboy ever since now.
Nice.
Yeah.
But at first, I was not impressed at all. Like, at first I was like, And then all of a sudden, I heard his trio stuff, and I was like, okay.
Everybody jumped on board.
I was wrong.
At that point.
Way wrong. I missed it. I missed it.
Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit or whatnot, and I don't even know exactly which band, but if there's a type of music or whatnot.
Yeah, go with genre.
There's some, the electronic, I don't know if you call it EDM, this and that. Some of it is a little... It makes me real nervous.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I go in there and I'm like, man, this is, and that was a strong cup of coffee, but it's still, I can't get that.
That's funny.
I'm trying to get the beat and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. No.
Yeah.
I can't get my groove.
So we're talking maybe
some
like
of that
EDM.
backbeat stuff is weird. You know, it's just a little off.
Oh, I love, there's some base nectar and some other things that I've heard that I've just been, that the other guys have turned me on to that's blown me away, that I've loved.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I've heard some stuff and I've been like, yeah, that sounds like two goats doing something. That's fine. You know what I mean?
That's great.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, question number 2 then.
Lay it on me.
Aside from your current cuisine, what is your favorite ethnic food that's out there?
That would be Thai food.
Thai food.
100%.
Thai rules, man.
Thai rules. Thai orchid and hickory is one of my faves. In Black Mountain, Thai basil.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it, but my hands are raised up right now.
Really?
Thai orchid is actually where my wife and I went on our very first date.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I had a sorcerer's apprentice, and it ruled my face. It was awesome.
I am a jade curry man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love the jade curry.
Absolutely, man.
Neat.
But when you ask you immediately, boom, that's it. As far as, if I had to pick something next, and I mean, just, your standard liver mush sandwich with a little bit of hella yellow on top of it.
What?
Of course, because it's got that.
It's a mind scrambler.
Like the honey mustard kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I got to have a little. Rick, it's going to be okay, man. We'll turn
dude,
you on to it.
Thinking about this right now.
Like, okay, I live in a district called Bayton. It's off of Granite Falls. It's basically a huge farm with a U-shaped road, and I live there.
Yeah.
And the guys down in that holler every morning. It's like liver mush and mustard.
And now it's liver mush and hella yellow.
Hello.
It's basically
My son
that's the
loves
Morganton version.
Liver mush. My son loves liver mush.
It's good for what ails you.
Yeah, man. So, okay.
That is crazy.
Last one.
Lay it on me.
Everybody's got to have their favorite taco and where it's from, but I would ask you, besides Mountain Burrito, where's your favorite taco from, and what is it?
My favorite taco is from a restaurant in Asheville called La Chupacabra Latin Cafe. Mm-hmm. It's in.
It's in Norden, right?
It's in Woodfin. I'm sorry.
Oh, Woodfin.
Just right outside of Asheville a little bit. But they have a pork belly taco. With pickled veg, a very kimchi kind of ish salad that goes with it, and it's.
I forgot you did kimchi last summer,
and it was that's one of those that as soon as you taste it, bam. And a lot of times it's what's my favorite taco? It's the one that I didn't make.
Yeah.
I love that. I love going to Habaneros with my son and having a taco feast, and we'll order 12 tacos, lined up all in a row.
Yeah.
I like,
you just try them out.
And we go for it.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, what are your, like, outside of Mountain Burrito, obviously, some of your favorite local places to go?
Pat Snack Bar.
Oh, yeah.
Always,
That's a legendary place.
Bud's Corner Kitchen in Valdez.
Yep.
I love Root and Vine.
Oh yeah.
I love the stuff that the grind puts out. But it's so hard for me to pick one perfect thing that is.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Sure.
I think if you went, the thing that blows my mind still, like when I go on my Yelp app and just in town looking at the restaurants and the reviews and the positive reviews, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The high quality places we have in this small town. It's crazy.
We're blessed. We have so much going on right now, and there's so much more that is going to be going on.
Yeah.
That I'm so excited for the next.
They're renovating.
Next couple
did you see
years.
the plans that they're doing for downtown Morganton?
I can't wait.
It's awesome.
I cannot wait.
Just
so
for y'all
excited.
that aren't from here, Morganton has been in a revitalization mode for quite a few years now. They've invested into small businesses. Most of the small businesses were started from people around this area or living in this area, and now they're looking at revitalizing even more. I think they're trying to do like a permanent amphitheater downtown in front of the movie theater. They're adding, Catawba Valley Brewery. I think they're adding like a two-story, looks like a building with a huge deck.
Yep.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, next to Mountain Burrito, people come to downtown because of Fauna Flora and Catawba Valley. Could you Could you? I mean, I can't. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I want to sit there and being the owner of the restaurant. Yes, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say yes, I love it. But one thing when I go to a lot of these places, I look and because most of the places are not serving food, and people bring food in, and I can look around and see. I'll say pizza box, pizza box, pizza box, and then I'm like Mountain Burrito plate, Mountain Burrito plate, Mountain Burrito plate.
It's great.
So trivia on Tuesdays at Catawba. My record right now, I've counted 15 plates of Mountain Burrito people eating, and just walking through there right quick, and I don't stop and go thank you, thank you, thank you. I just kind of go and I go, and it gives me a very.
To say that you're a customer. You're a customer of a lot of these places, and you're friends with a lot of these guys.
Well, I mean, I try to, I have my Mountain Burrito shirt on.
Yeah.
I've got a hoodie from Brown Mountain Bottle Works, and
Catawba Valley Brewery hat. Yeah.
And these are not just places. Not just because I hang out, because I know these guys, and I see them. They've put the time in, and we scratch each other's back, and just it takes a village.
There's definitely a crew that I think sees each other all the time in downtown, right?
Yeah,
I see them all the time. I know all these guys.
Yeah,
it's awesome. That's awesome.
I love it. I'm grateful every morning, and some days harder than others or whatnot, but grateful just to be a part of it.
Yeah,
to be a part of it when a lot of this stuff was not here.
Yeah,
and seeing everything, and just Rick, some of the stuff I told you today, being a big red letter day.
Yeah.
Today, and to see the irony of having this podcast right now.
So I don't want to get into specifics, but something big happened for you today.
I mean, I'll go out. I'll tell everybody. I mean, it's one of those. It snuck up on me.
It's a big deal, man.
And it snuck up on me so big, and I stopped, and you could have pushed me over. I just looked at an email and looked at it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I just made my last. I'm out of debt with Mountain Burrito.
All right,
and
dude,
the Mountain Burrito that didn't work out. And I never want to say anything didn't work out. It taught me a lot of stuff.
Sure.
But
that's a big deal, man. That's huge.
That's humongous.
And the irony of it is I get more of sitting here with you two guys that I've seen at the restaurant talking about this stuff versus. And I'm doing, the money sign with my hand, doing this right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing to do, but I look at the accomplishment. I look at all day long. I've gone back and look at numbers, and I think of, a lot of reminiscing has been going on today.
Yeah.
A lot of, thinking of, the 100-hour weeks for a couple of years, and every person that I've had, I'll never say somebody. I hate saying somebody works for me. I'd always say somebody works with me.
Yeah,
dude,
because it is such a team. I
am not the only diehard fan. I'm just not. There's hundreds. I see them.
We have soldiers.
Yeah, yep. I'm not the only one. I'm just super vocal about it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But there are many people like me. And even Jimmy and other guys that are just diehard fans, man. Like diehard fans. And
Absolutely.
Some people are just too scared to talk to you. I would talk to a wall. You know what I'm saying? But, and I know them. I see them there and I talk to them. Even if it's, some of my favorite people are from the deaf school.
Right.
I mean, you've got some it's just awesome. They see me, we know each other. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It is, I always... One of my nightly things is always go TV land. I always like to watch a little old Cheers episode. There's a couple on there that I go and I
classic.
Look at, and there's not a single time that I watch it and I think of Mountain Burrito in the same somewhat aspect of because I do see a lot of the same people every day.
Oh yeah,
not just the guys that I work with, my customers, this and that. And there's people we come in and I'm gonna tell you what, when Rick's in the house, that's a daily thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be that's the norm.
Yeah.
Or, but and there's I'm grateful for everybody. I can't words really can't express
this is where we get to like the teaching moment or the encouraging part of this, but the bottom line is, for anybody listening, it's not easy, right? It's not easy to have your own business.
Right.
However, there's a lot said for hard work, longevity, and just, loving what you do.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I love what I do, right? I couldn't imagine doing anything else musically. You know, it's what drives me to perfection. I was like listening to old 90s rock records. One of my favorite producers, Brendan O'Brien, produced, and that's all I did this week was just listening. I listened to his drum sounds.
Yeah.
You know, and that stuff is like what drives me. You know, it always will. You know, and I see that with you, man. I see that with you.
Well, man, I appreciate it. It's this whole thing is it's flattering, it's humbling, you know, and it's hard for me to still think about it just because it's, you know,
it's awesome, man.
Because there's been a lot of people involved.
There, I think, in a way, I mean, I think the next step for you probably in this business is going to start this year, whatever that step's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have an idea of what's happening, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to see it come to fruition.
We're just going to keep pushing it and keep pushing it.
And after a little while, I want you back on. You know, we can discuss that. And,
anytime, man.
Because, man, like, we're not trying to, you know, we're not, I want this to exist as a positive place and just a healthy place to come and hang and talk.
Yeah.
But I know I love you, man.
Man, I love you too.
Thankful for your friendship.
Always. It's the best part about the restaurant. I'll close with this, I guess. You know, people come in, they're people, and then they're customers, and they turn into acquaintances, and then friends, and then people, you know, like you guys that.
Well, we'll be lifelong.
You know, no matter, like, I don't see you in 2 years, we'll pick up exactly where we picked up off of the last time.
Yeah.
And that, I'm sorry, you can't measure that in money. You know, I've seen kids that. Gabe's you talking about high school orientation, you know, and I still see,
little dude,
you know, and it's that part of it, seeing kids grow up, you know, seeing kids, you know, that we've catered over at the Morganton Day School that are now in
you do that
college.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
every Wednesday,
yeah,
and it reminds me of, you know, my age a little bit.
Well, dude, like, you know, whenever there's certain times, I know exactly what time to go there, right? But if the schools are out early, the line is out that door ASAP.
Yep.
Like, it fills up so fast because every kid, if they're on that side of town,
they're there.
They're going, and that's where they hang.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. It just, when you see young people going to places like that, that just says a lot.
Yeah.
I honestly, I can't get enough. I cannot get enough of it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It still blows me away. Man. Still blows me away.
Great deal.
Every day.
Well, listen, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Man. I totally appreciate it.
I don't know. This is gonna end the season so well.
Yeah, very well.
So, but listen, good luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I think we're gonna go to your establishment right now and grab a bite.
Absolutely, we
come back and do some more work.
Can I say that is what I call a brilliant idea? Can I say,
you, man.
Hella yellow?
So, I know I'm going to say this for you because I know you won't say it, but if people want to contact Mountain Burrito, they can do. You have a website now.
Yes, and that's.
And what's the website?
The website is mountainburritonc.com.
All right. Yeah. And then through Facebook, you guys are really good about Facebook.
We're always on Facebook.
And the website's new.
The website's new. Just launched it about a month ago. Still tweaking it out just a little bit or whatnot. And being in business here for almost 7 years and just coming up with a website, you know, that I've always thought in a little smaller town, the food should advertise everything. And if you're having to spend a lot of money on this and that, you might need to readjust how much salt you're putting in something. You know, and think of, you know, go back a little bit more.
Yeah. So Mountain Burrito NC.
MountainBurritoNC.com. Check us out. Facebook. Yep.
Right. Jimbo, what about you?
Dude, you can check me at jimmyatkinsmusic.com or ruddymanbeard.com
for those wonderful beard products.
I make beard products, man.
Yes. And again, if you have any questions or comments on the podcast, check out bombhousepodcast.
Yes.
.com or find us on Facebook. My Twitter is at Ricky Rodriguez. Instagram's at Ricky Rod. But we do appreciate y'all listening. Man, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's go get some Mountain B, man.
Everybody out there, I would just like to say thank you. And you know who I'm talking about. I love each and every one of you.
Yep.
Supporting the restaurant, and even if you don't support the restaurant, I'd still love each and every one of you.
Oh yeah. Well,
100%.
I think you have much more support.
Yeah.
To be honest. All right, guys, you heard it here.
Y'all take care.
We learned lots of stuff. Love y'all. Peace.
Love you. You guys are the bomb.